All right. Welcome to Off Topic, our little sports show with Tim and Matt, where we always go off topic. So, college football semifinals going into the final on the 20th of January. Holy moly, Penn State, Notre Dame, a game for the ages.
Neither game disappointed. I got to tell you, neither game disappointed.
No.
They were something else. I really enjoyed the Notre Dame Penn State game. It was a battle from the beginning. That Penn State defense is legit. I could not believe how much they were after Notre Dame in the first half. Right. And then Notre Dame was able to get 3 points on the board, like just at the end of the half. And after that, it was just
a rubber match. It was a perfect example of two almost equal teams living up to their bill. Like they're 7 and 8 or something, right? Or 6 and 7 in the rankings. So they're pretty much tied. And it was just this rubber match, right?
Yeah.
Penn scores, Notre Dame scores. Penn gets a sack, Notre Dame gets a sack. One gets an interception, the other gets an interception. Yeah. One tailback grinds it into the end zone, fighting through like 4 O-linemen. The other tailback does the same thing. It was so perfectly even matched. And it just came down. They lost. Penn State lost at the clock.
Yes.
Because they got that last interception with 30 seconds to go. Got them close enough with 8 seconds to go for the field goal. But, I mean, you're right. Penn State, both teams' defenses were lights out. I got to give a shout out to Tyler Warren, the Penn State number 44 tight end.
Oh.
Who is apparently going 17th overall as the prediction.
Yeah.
Like, how he's going that late.
Yeah.
What a machine. The kid's a beast.
He was catching everything. And it was like Penn State got up. It said 7:55 of the fourth quarter. They got up 24-17 on a great run by Singleton. Now, not a big guy. He's probably going to go in later rounds, but man, he plays with a heart. Holy smokes! But then with 4:38 left in the game, Riley Leonard hit Jaden Greathouse. And now the scary part was when Leonard went out in the first half.
Yes.
And they thought he had a concussion, right? And he was able.
Tyler Warren had the same problem. He hit his head really hard on the turf. It was scary.
Yeah.
Like wham.
But Leonard was able to come back. And Greathouse made this beautiful move on the defensive back, and he fell down.
Yeah.
So he's wide open, and Leonard hit him, and it was one-on-one with the safety. And he made another move, and the safety fell down, and off he went to the end zone.
Saunters into the end zone.
54-yard play to tie the game with less than 5 minutes left. And it wasn't until 7 seconds, because they went back and forth a bit.
Oh.
In there, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, and then
or
all
4
of a sudden,
yeah, 4,
three and punt,
three
and punt, right? And then all of a sudden they got into field goal range. Mitch Jeter, 41-yard field goal to end the game with 7 seconds left. And the funny thing is that didn't end the game.
Because still 8 seconds left.
There's still 8 seconds left. They got 2 plays off. I think Warren caught one and got it out of bounds really quick. Yeah. And then they started doing the pitch.
Yeah.
The pitch back.
Yeah.
And he threw it across. Guy missed it. Went out of bounds. That was the end of the game.
Right.
Notre Dame's going to the college football.
But
final.
it was so tight. Like it's just that perfect example of two evenly matched teams, evenly matched.
Yes.
Like it was just fantastic. And the interesting thing about the Irish going into the final, because Ohio State won their game. We'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
So Ohio State is ranked a little bit higher than the Irish. 7-0 this season against ranked opponents. So they lost one game all season against some nobody team that didn't really amount to anything. And the interesting thing about the Irish, because they've done this 3 times in a row, they score late in the first half, usually a field goal, and then they score again on their opening drive starting the second half.
Yes.
And it doesn't sound like much, right? But suddenly they're back in it very quickly. And if Ohio can prevent them from scoring on that opening drive in the second half, it might be able to throw them off a little bit. Yeah. But I mean, that's been happening, and it's not by accident, man. Like this is a sick team.
Yeah.
Like they're fantastic, and we'll get to Ohio in a second. But both defenses were lights out.
Unbelievable.
Lights out.
Really good.
And they just battled, and they battled, and they battled, and it was such an epic game. And to win it with 8 seconds to go. And still for them to get 2 plays off with 8 seconds to go
Yeah.
just speaks to like that caliber of how good those teams were.
Well, Penn, the desire by Penn State. I mean,
Yeah.
you really want them there. But then last night, okay, so Ohio State and Texas last night.
Right.
Right. And, and this was a great game. This defensive battle once again. Texas started with the ball, went 3 and out, punted.
Yeah.
Right. Ohio State comes down, marches down the field, and scores.
Yeah.
Right. And you're thinking, oh, okay, Ohio State's just going to go. It's going to be a beating. Not even a sniff of the end zone.
Yeah.
Until there was 29 seconds left in the half.
Yeah.
Right. And Texas was able to push it down. Jane Blue pass from Quinn Ewers. Nice, is beautiful throw. Gets in the end zone. Perfect. It looks like it's going to go into halftime. There's 29 seconds left in the half, right?
Yeah. Nope.
2 plays later, 75-yard pass to Travion Henderson from Will Howard for a touchdown to put him up 14-7 going in. And Texas's defense played well.
They were fantastic.
Really good. They kept Henderson kind of, tied up a bit. You had Judkins, who was another one who he scored twice on 2 different runs later in the game, but in the first one, they really kind of tied these 2 guys up and didn't give them a lot to work with. But when these guys got something to work with, they made it matter.
Yeah. Yeah. They made chicken salad. Absolute chicken salad.
Yeah.
But all 4 defenses, all 4 teams were absolutely superb. It was the defenses that won it.
Yes.
Because it was the interception by Notre Dame that won it, and it was the turnover that when they knocked the quarterback down and the big defensive end just picked up the ball on the bounce and hit that end zone for Ohio State.
Yeah.
And just chugging. You got the mouth guard in. Wide receiver gets a ball and he's clear open. The mouth guard comes out so he can breathe better. He doesn't use this. He's got the mouth guard in and his eyes are bulging and he's got like half his team behind him. He can't see anything. You think he's going to get tackled. And he's going purple by the time he hit that because he couldn't get any air.
Well, and here we got the video of it. I don't know if we can.
They were both great games. Here it is. 21. Look at the bounce, and he's on the stride. Right? 3 Ohio State players.
So the interesting thing here is Jack Sawyer could have gone to the NFL last year.
Yeah.
He would have been a first or a second round pick in the draft last year.
Right.
A bunch of the seniors came back this year.
Because they wanted to win a championship.
Because they wanted to win a championship. They wanted to win a championship together. And so they forego going to the NFL and signing the big contract and making the money to come back to make the attempt at this.
Right.
They have to beat Oregon, who's undefeated and just a powerhouse. And then they come in against Texas, who's another really strong team.
Yeah.
And they're able to pull that out. And Jack Sawyer cemented
That's
his
Ohio.
name. Ohio.
Yeah.
Cemented his name in Buckeye history with that play right there.
Boom.
Good job,
Absolutely
Jack.
Superb.
Anybody that gets him in the NFL next year in the draft, going to be very happy. Chargers, listen, very happy because he is just a phenomenal player.
He is. And that play, what's interesting on that play is Texas rolled the dice. It was 4th down.
Yeah.
It was 4th and goal. They could have gone for the field goal. They could have gone within 4 points.
Yeah.
And then battled, and they rolled the dice.
2 minutes left in the game, though.
2 minutes left in the game, but I mean, points are points are points.
Yeah.
And you get it. Your defenses are playing great. They could have forced. It was they rolled. God love Texas. They rolled the dice. Matthew McConaughey, college football's answer to Taylor Swift, very heartbroken. You see the tears coming down, washing away spray on tan, very hard. Okay.
All right. Okay. Now, this is a funny story here. So on Twitter on Thursday night, as the Notre Dame and Penn State games going on, a couple there in OSU gear, they misread the bracket. And now I don't know if they misread the bracket after it was set or if they misread how it would go down. They figured OSU was going to be played in Miami on Thursday. So they booked their flight, they booked their trip, they went to Miami, and they get there to find out that it's Notre Dame and Penn State.
Oh, so they're in the wrong state, on the wrong stadium, on the wrong day. And she's got the little Ohio State sticker with the tears coming down. That is just,
you feel bad for them. You feel bad
totally
for them.
do.
I think it might have been a case where they they followed the path down of where they should end up.
Right.
And booked ahead of time to save money.
Yes.
I'm hoping that's it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping they're not just didn't read what city it was and booked the day before.
I'm going to tell you a story. And last year, we get our holiday times because these people are human beings and they just made a mistake. They brain farted.
Right.
They got the days mixed up and they just booked the wrong thing. My holiday time comes in. Was it last year? It was 2 years ago. And we book our holidays. And I send an email saying, hey, my son was still in high school. Yeah, it was a few years ago because Benny was still in high school and he worked part-time with me. Hey, Ben needs this week off, not paid because we're going on holidays. Is this okay? I send the email. Email comes back in HR, goes, what are you talking about? That's not your holiday. Your holiday's this week. We got our holiday times mixed up. So we booked flights, rental car, everything for the wrong week going to Ottawa. I'm serious. And then it's like, how do we, like, no, this isn't right. And we go through and we find, because you put in your holiday time on a sheet and then they approve it and then you get a copy and HR keeps a copy and we pull it up and it's like, oh my God, we booked the wrong week. I'm ADD, so I make these mistakes all the time. My wife is as meticulous as you could possibly imagine. The fact that we both screwed this up. So you know what? My heart, the empathy for this this young couple, like I totally got it. And it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
How do we screw that up? It's just awful.
Yeah. That is yeah. It is one of those things that happens. And I mean, like I said, I like to think that they went over the bracket and said, hey, if Ohio State makes it, it's going to be here.
Yeah.
And they're going to be here. If we book now, we save hundreds of dollars. Let's do it. And then when it came through, they were like, we're going to the game anyways.
Yeah. And they may have just, oh yeah, no, it's on Thursday. Oh yeah, right. Blah, 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 and then booked it and forgot about it.
Yeah.
And probably just got busy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, no, it's Thursday. It's the game. Oh, it's Thursday, right? And they, like people make mistakes. It's just they're busy.
Yeah.
Like they're busy. I'm willing to bet they're like hectic, and they just screwed it up, and they get there, and oh my God.
But here's the thing: is you got a hell of a game anyways.
Yeah, and they got to go to the game too. So it looks like they found some tickets and let them in.
They had tickets already. They bought tickets for the bowl.
Oh, they bought tickets for the wrong
You buy the
game.
ticket for the bowl game,
right? Yeah,
and then the teams that end up there, you don't find out till the week before.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like they could have already bought all this stuff prior.
Yeah.
So
you don't miss out. I went to the Oregon Maryland game.
Right.
It was interesting. The time was TBA up until about a week before.
Yeah.
So you don't know what the time the game starts for about a week before, which is, I'm driving up from Oakland, California. Like if it's on noon, that means I got to find a hotel room on a Friday and cut my thing a day early. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's because of the TV rankings, the way it goes. It's not quite like the NFL. It's a little more fluid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a perfectly innocent mistake, and they got to go to the game. They got a great game, and Ohio won. So there's a caveat. The next day, and I love them. So,
So
and they got a funny story to tell. So that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they put it on Twitter, and a reporter talked to them there. And the reporter put it out on Twitter, so it's history now.
Yeah.
It's never going anywhere.
There we go. All right, but I'm sure they had fun.
Yeah.
You want to talk? We want to go to NFL now.
Okay, because last week we talked NFL.
January 20th is going to be a sick game, college football final.
Notre Dame, OSU.
It's going to be a tight game.
Yeah, you rooting for Notre Dame?
I'm pulling a Notre Dame.
I'll take OSU.
If I was a betting man, I would take Notre Dame by half a point, and I'd probably bet about 50 cents. Right? I'm not too confident. Last year at the Super Bowl, someone was like, who are you taking? I'm like, I'm going to take San Francisco by half a point. And how about I bet $1? Because it's going to be that tight. So, yeah.
So we're going to swing over to the NFL now.
Yep.
Last weekend was a big weekend, Week 18, where there's usually not a lot to talk about, but we had a lot going on this year. Cincinnati was trying to get a spot. They had to beat Pittsburgh.
They did.
In Pittsburgh. But then they needed Miami and Denver to lose. Denver was playing KC, who said a week before they're resting all their starters.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz was going to be the guy. Miami is going into the Jets, where Aaron Rodgers in the last few weeks has found the fountain of youth. So it was
right time for the playoffs.
100%. And the Chargers had their spot was up in the air because if they beat the Raiders and Pittsburgh lost, they moved to 5 and play Houston.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot going on. The big story, the big thing that came out of it was Denver went into KC and beat KC 38-0. Now on Saturday, Cincinnati played Pittsburgh. Beat Pittsburgh 19-17.
Right.
So there's a chance.
Right.
You say there's a chance. There's a chance. Right? Now they needed KC to beat Denver.
Yeah.
And KC had nothing to play for.
No.
They rested starters, the whole 9 yards, and Denver, who had to win to get their spot, came out and threw everything at the second string. Chiefs. People were crying. There's petitions that they shouldn't get their bye week this week now. They should have to play Cincinnati as a play-in. You know, and like it was quite hilarious. But it's something that's happened regularly throughout football.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got the bye week locked up. You don't risk injuring your stars.
What are you going to do? Like there was talk, I think in the NFL had a rule in the final weeks, you can't rest your starters going into the playoffs or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that the teams fought back and said, you know what, you really? Patrick Mahomes blows his ankle in the last game because he has to play him because some stupid rule.
Yeah.
Because people are getting no. What the hell difference is why? You know, and let your second stringers get a chance to play.
Yeah.
Mitch Trubisky with Buffalo gets to tell his grandkids he got to play an NFL game. So there you go.
Yeah,
right?
100%. Carson Wentz is on a 1-year contract as a backup in KC. And the KC coaching staff wanted to make sure that Carson Wentz got a chance to go out there and prove why no one should sign him next year. You know, like it's just one of those things that
poor old Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, he did not do well at all. The Patriots beat the Bills. I mean, like you've seen these upsets that weren't real upsets because they weren't trying.
No.
The shocking one to me was Aaron Rodgers came out against the Dolphins team, threw 274 yards and 4 touchdowns. I mean, fountain of youth, Aaron. And he's like, I just may play next year. And he goes, and I'm not going to need a darkness retreat to make this decision, you know? So the Jets fired their GM and their head coach. They're bringing in a new GM and head coach. Aaron said if he's part of the discussion, he's not playing anywhere else. If he's part of the discussion, he'll stay. If he's not, he'll go. Yeah, well. You know, he'll retire. So that may have been his last game. And you know what? For a guy who's had, 3 MVPs and
he's going
Super
to the Hall
Bowl,
of Fame. As crazy as he is with his conspiracy theories and stuff, he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's had a great career.
It was good to see him go out with a 4-touchdown game, too.
Sure.
I mean, the Dolphins are having a lot of problems. Tua wasn't playing, you know. Yeah. They've got a lot of issues. They've had 2 of their stars come out after the fact saying they're out of here, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey. Yeah. They don't want to be there. They say it's a clown show. So, I mean.
Well, Tyreek Hill was with the Chiefs.
Yes.
And Tyreek Hill
chased the money.
Yeah. And Tyreek Hill put himself in the Dolphins uniform. And if he wants to bitch and complain to someone, he can look in the mirror because this is what he wants to do.
Yes, this is what he decided.
They gave huge to get Tyreek Hill, and he got into some police incident start the season, which was completely unwarranted by the police or whatever, and the entire organization had his back. Like, they did not throw him to the wolves. Like, it was I can't remember what happened.
I got pulled over. He got pulled over, stopped for speeding.
Yeah.
And was windrose window down.
Yeah.
Was just really obtuse to the officer.
Right.
Neither party handled that situation well.
No, but the Dolphins had his back.
Yeah,
his
100%.
Teammates had his back.
100%.
They were there for him. Yeah. And suddenly, we didn't win. This is terrible. I don't want to play here anymore. Yeah. You know what? Then go hang out with your 35 kids from 9 different women or whatever the heck it is. And you go do that because, the Dolphins didn't play that well, but you wanted to be there. Yeah. So cry to somebody else.
And he has that right to say that I don't want to be here. It's not what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
The Dolphins have had a rough couple of years with 2 of the injuries.
Concussions.
Tua plays like an absolute stud out there.
He is.
He puts his life on the line on some plays, and he's just been absolutely rocked.
Yeah.
They've got good running backs. They've got good receivers. Even without Tyreek Hill, they're a solid team. They're a good defensive team that needs, but injuries got them this year.
Well, look at San Francisco.
Yep.
They're a good team. They just had a bad season. Injuries got them. And it wasn't just like The Detroit Lions had a bunch of guys out on the DL that were starters, and they managed to win anyway, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
But in San Francisco, they were Pro Bowlers that went down.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big difference between a starter and a Pro Bowler. Like, these are impact guys all going on the DL, and it's like one after the other. So whatever. It's,
So now we get to this week, which we're gonna call the Chargers' journey to the Super Bowl.
That's what you're going to call it. I'm going to call it the first week of the playoffs.
When they're in the Super Bowl, we'll be having this talk. Okay.
Well, I can't wait for them to beat KC at home.
And
after they,
we'll get to that. We're gonna talk about this weekend first, then we'll get to that as we get the bracket up on the board here.
Okay.
So right away we've got today's games 1:30 and 5 o'clock. We got the Chargers versus the Texans.
Yeah.
And then Pittsburgh heads into Baltimore
Okay.
to play the Ravens. Now, the Chargers are the number 5 seed. The Texans are the number 4 seed. The Chargers actually had a better record than the Texans, 11-6 over 10-7. But because Texans won their division, they get the 4 spot.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4 is
it's
the 4
all,
divisions.
not to interrupt, but all, people will go into a game like this with stats. Your hockey team goes to the final. Oh, the average size of my player and this, defense, blah, 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 blah. It's all academic. The second, the oning kickoff for the puck
100%.
drops.
Yeah.
None of that matters. You're going to win or you're going to lose.
Yeah.
And you can be the over, 10-point favorite and still, just get beat
Any
by
given
on a
Sunday.
lucky bounce.
Yeah.
So,
The Chargers let in the least points all year
Yeah.
long, right? They average the least points per week.
Yeah.
They're a very strong defensive team. Derwin James was just named Defensive Player of the Month for December. So you got Texan quarterback Stroud talking about Derwin James.
Yeah.
Because you have to account for guys like Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Dan Henley on the defense. They brought in a couple of veteran defensive backs in Fulton and Molden, who've really helped them out a lot. They got the two draft picks that are going to the Pro Bowl this year, Still and Hart.
Yeah.
So defensively, the Chargers are very solid. They have a lot of problems on the offensive side of the ball. J.K. Dobbins may or may not play. He's hurt, not hurt. Quentin Johnson may or may not play. He's hurt, maybe not hurt. They're banged up.
Yeah.
But you go in the playoffs, they're always banged up, right? Josh Palmer, the Canadian receiver,
yes,
isn't playing. He is hurt, so he's out. So, they got Semenko back off the IR. So there's a lot going on for the Chargers going into this game. On the other side, you got the Texans, who are a bit more suspect defensively, but have a good offense.
C.J. Stroud can be a spark plug. Like, he can just
anywhere.
Yeah, he can just turn it on.
Yeah,
and he can be very dangerous.
Yeah, but their problem is right now is injuries as well. They lost Stefan Diggs halfway through the season, who is the big receiver they got from Buffalo in the offseason. Tank Dell's now out, which is their other big receiver. So they've got some offensive problems too, but a very good defense. So I think this is going to be a battle of a game. It's going to be very solid.
Right.
This evening, you go into Baltimore. Pittsburgh's going into Baltimore. Pittsburgh's having some offensive struggles right now. Russell Wilson is either on fire or a train wreck.
Yeah.
Lamar
Jackson and I can never. Who's their tailback?
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. They are a 1-2 tandem that is just.
Pittsburgh's got a solid run defense. You got the other Bosa over there, or no, the Watt, T.J. Watt over there.
Watt, yeah.
T.J. Watt over there. Very good defense of both teams. Zay Flowers, who is the stud receiver for the Baltimore Ravens, isn't playing today, so he's out. So but you've got 2 very good tight ends there and other receivers that have stepped up.
Should be a good game.
That should be a bit of more of a barn burner.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a bit more. It's either going to be Baltimore blows it wide open early, or it's going to be
down to the wire
in the teens score wise.
Yeah.
So then we move on to tomorrow, Broncos and Bills.
Bills should win that game.
I like the Broncos. Well, I hate the Broncos. They're in my division. But I like this Broncos team as a young up-and-coming team.
Yes.
I think Bo Nix is the real deal. I think they got some good runners. Their defense is looking very solid. But Buffalo is just such a powerhouse that I don't think that Denver is going to be able to go into Buffalo on a Saturday or Sunday morning and beat the Bills.
Yeah, and the weather's going to be a factor because Buffalo, the weather is horrible.
Well, Colorado, the weather's not much better than
Well,
Buffalo.
it's Buffalo. You get 400 feet of snow. Like, it's
in a minute.
tough.
Yeah.
Buffalo is playing like a team of destiny right now.
Yes. Yeah.
Josh Allen is playing like a guy that wants it so bad that he's willing to do anything to get it. Like, he is playing lights out, and he is carrying that team, and they are behind him.
Yeah.
And like you said, the Broncos are they're coming up. So I think they're going to lose today. I think Buffalo's just going to run roughshod over them. It's going to be a learning phase for the Broncos, and they're going to get stronger from it, right?
Yep.
You got to learn how to win by losing. Wow, those guys taught us a lesson, right? That kind of thing. The wild card in this whole thing: can anybody beat KC on the way to? We can, philosophize about numbers and passion all we want.
Yeah.
But waiting for you in the wings in that conference final is going to be the Chiefs. And if Buffalo could pull a rabbit out of their hat, because I'm saying it right now, it's coming down on the Buffalo Chiefs.
I'm going to disagree with you there. Yes, I'm a Chargers fan. Yes, I watch the Chargers. I watch the AFC West. Huge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always paying attention to the AFC West.
Yeah.
Right? If things go the way they should today, Baltimore should beat Steelers. Buffalo should beat Denver.
Yeah.
They will face off next week.
Yeah.
If the Chargers beat the Texans.
Okay. Which they will. I think they will.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
Their path to the Super Bowl goes that way. They will go to KC next week. Now, let's be honest. The KC starters have not played since Christmas Day. It will be 24 days.
That long?
Yes. 20.
Okay.
That's over 3 weeks that the starters have not played. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, because they got the bye week, because he didn't suit up last week.
Yeah.
Chris Jones, the defense. 24 days off. Yeah, they're practicing, right? But it's not the same as playing a game against NFL competition.
Okay.
Even if you're playing against your second string. They're going to come in, the Chargers are going to come in with momentum. The Chiefs are going to wake up and be like, oh, I got to go play football today. It's been like a month. I don't know. And let's be honest. The Chiefs haven't been the dominating Chiefs of the past. They've won. They found ways to win, or other teams have blown their foot off playing them.
Yeah.
Right? There's at least 3 times this year where
They should have lost.
they should have lost and the other team screwed up.
Yeah.
At least 3, right? One against Oakland even. Right? Both games against the Chargers, and one of them, they didn't have either of their tackles or their running back, and Herbert was hurt.
Yeah.
The quarterback was hurt. They only won by a score. Both games, late in the game. The Chargers have shored that up. I think that game there is going to be one of the best games of this playoffs, is because you got the Chiefs, who are a phenomenal team, right? But then you got the Chargers.
Okay.
Who are coming in.
Let's pretend
Tim's getting money out here.
that the Chargers beat the Texans and they face KC. I got $40 right here that says KC beats the Chargers. And I'm going to put it down right there for the singular reason that no matter what regular season stats you look at against the Chargers, with the breaks, all this kind of stuff, that team knows how to win. And that team, as banged up as they are, had 24 days to rest and get their boo-boos over. And that team's going to hit the playoffs, and they practice like Bill Belichick used to practice with their Patriots. That team knows how to win, whether it's a fluke on the other side or they just grind out that last thing or the defense steps up. They know how to win. They know how to want to win. And they are scouting out, and I'm willing to bet they are practicing ready for the Chargers because they think the Chargers are going to win.
Yep, 100%.
And they are practicing and looking at every single piece of game film, and they are designing their defense against an offense and their offense against that defense. And I got $40 right here that says KC wins that game.
So if Chargers win, I get the $40. If
That's
KC
right.
wins, you get your $40 back.
No, I get $80.
I'm not giving you 40. I'm not betting you $40.
Oh, he doesn't want to put any money down.
I got all my betting in Vegas right now. All my money's in Vegas.
Oh, someone's not too confident anymore. Oh,
I'm not betting you $40. I learned a long time ago. Yeah, I'm not betting money on football.
Oh, you're not betting money. Okay, that's fair enough. Because I'll bet money that KC wins that game. I will not bet money against Buffalo and KC because I think Buffalo could probably win it this year. But KC will take out whoever wins the Texas Chargers game. That much I will guarantee because they just know how to win. They're so well coached. They're such veterans. They know they're getting older. They know this could be their last kick at the can. Next season, if they go all the way, they're probably not going to make it to the Super Bowl because they'll be so banged up. This year, I think they've got at least a trip to the Super Bowl.
So in the last 4 years, they've gone to the Super Bowl 3 times. The KC.
Yes.
KC. They've played 4 extra games each year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot, right? In 4 years, right? I don't know. I think they're beatable this year. And that's why no team has ever three-peated before. If you look at Dallas back in the 90s, they back-to-back wins.
San Francisco with Joe Montana.
Back-to-back wins.
With a shorter season, too.
Even if they made it to the Super Bowl, they couldn't pull it off because it's just too many games in a short period of time.
Too run down, yeah.
Yeah, and you can't... KC has a habit of pointing tricks out of their hat to win games. They're running out of tricks in the hat.
They find a different gear
100%.
In the playoffs. It's unreal. Because remember last year, they had a crappy start to the season, and people are saying the same things last year as they're saying this year. And I say the smart money, especially in that first playoff game, maybe by the conference final, they're a bit more banged up. Maybe by the Super Bowl, they're a bit more banged up.
They win next week. Whether it be Houston or Chargers.
Yeah.
Right? Or even one of the other teams if there's an upset this weekend. Right?
Yeah,
we're not even talking. They may not even make it. They win next week, they win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Right? That's my prediction.
That's
if
your
KC
prediction.
wins next week, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
That's fair enough.
Because once they get momentum, they are ripe for the picking right now.
Yeah.
So
I don't think the first round they're right for the picking because I think they've been doing the ice baths and getting the ACLs massaged and all that kind of stuff.
Look at them in week 1. They almost lost in week 1. They won on a field goal in the last minute of the game.
They still won the game.
Oh, no.
And
They missed on a toe on the white line in the last play of the game.
And they still won the game.
And they won, but
won.
It's
And they're still 14,
all right, NFC. We're going over the other side of the bracket.
2 games all season.
Let's jump over the other
Whether you
side
win
of the
by
bracket.
1 point or 30 points, you still win. If it's by dominant or by a fluke, you still win. And that's how they win, no matter what.
They're not going to win, Tim. They're not going to win.
Okay, I got $40 as they do, but you don't have $40 to say
I'm not
they.
betting you money. I
No.
got a nice new Disneyland hoodie.
Oh,
and I got my
Disneyland
Captain-
hoodie. How will we bet
and
the
my Captain
Disneyland
America
hoodie?
say, no.
Do we bet the Disneyland hoodie? No, you're sure? Because it'll look really good on me.
You put your $40 up.
And you put your $40
No,
up.
you just put your 40.
No,
You got to
I'm
keep
not.
it if you're
Oh,
right.
that's not how gambling works.
That's how we're going to work this one.
right.
You're so confident. I'm not saying I'm confident. That confident. I'm
I
ready to put money
sounded
on.
kind of confident to me a minute ago.
I put $20 on the Chargers to win the Super Bowl back in like October,
Okay.
and I got a ticket from Vegas.
Okay.
On my board at work.
Okay.
We win $720 if they win the Super Bowl.
$720?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be nice.
Yeah. So American. So that's like
okay.
a $500,000 Canadian. So let's go over to the NFC. All right, we're gonna go over to the NFC side of things now.
Okay.
Next week we'll show Tim how wrong he is.
Okay.
All right. So we
Okay,
start
we
off.
have this on because Jacob's our producer. So that clip after the KC wins, we're going to
It'll be
play
2 weeks.
With
It'll be
2
2
weeks, we're going to play that clip.
All right.
And we'll just revisit this little segment next when KC wins. Okay, keep going.
And if Casey loses, we're gonna play it a lot.
Oh, there you go. I'm fine with that.
Tim's gonna give me $40.
No, I'm not.
So 1:30 tomorrow, we got the Packers versus the Eagles. This game, by all rights, Eagles should win.
Yeah.
But how hurt is hurt, right? That's the
concussion's pretty serious. So
you know how hurt is hurt. AJ Brown's hurt. Offense is hurt. Defense is still solid. Saquon Barkley's still running like a monster. So Green Bay's coming in, young group, same as Denver. I like them. I think they've got a great future if they can keep that core together. A lot of good young receivers. It'll be interesting. This game will be a good game.
You made a really good point last week that Green Bay, in their most of their wins, were against a lot weaker teams,
Yes. Yeah.
and their losses were against stronger teams. So I would like to see Green Bay win, just so we completely avoid a Philadelphia KC final again.
Yes.
For that reason whatsoever. But I think realistically, sure, Jalen Hurts is sort of the dark horse in this. If that concussion, we hope, because it's not funny, is over and he can play to his potential, Philly should win it. Otherwise, I'd like to see Green Bay win just to get a different face in the playoffs. So I don't really care one way or another in this game, but I like an underdog, and yeah.
Talking different face in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? You got the Commanders and the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Well,
Commanders are back.
Yeah.
Like this Commanders team.
And the Buccaneers are back too.
Exactly.
And certain Buccaneers have a sort of undersized quarterback that's eaten a lot of, you know what in his career, and has a big chip on his shoulder for a 5'10" guy who plays like a machine when he wants to. And that's going to be a superb game. And the winner of that game could conceivably go all the way. Like, they're that dangerous. Either one of those teams.
Either one of those teams.
Yeah.
The 5 losses that the Commanders have had, they've taken the teams to the bitter end.
Yeah.
You know, and it's been close games. The Buccaneers just come out and keep coming at you. They're so fun to watch. The whole team.
Baker Mayfield. People hate Baker Mayfield, blah, blah, blah.
Love him.
He is a blast to watch. He is so much fun to watch.
Yeah. And anybody that says, I don't like Baker Mayfield, right, needs to go watch an interview with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And there's an interview out there where he says stuff on the field. Right? Like, he's like, fry your bacon, boys, fry your bacon. And they're like, what does that mean? And
Doesn't mean anything.
He goes, I just say stuff.
Yeah.
I love this kid. He's just, and there's a difference between confidence and cocky. He's confident on the edge of cocky.
Yeah.
And I like that about him.
And he was in Cleveland, did not go well, picked first overall when he shouldn't have gone, and he's grown and matured as a human being as much as he has as a football player.
Yeah.
He's not a kid anymore. He's taken his knocks. He's in a good position now. He's a good leader. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Jalen Daniels, man, rookie of the year. That
100%.
guy is unreal. He can do anything.
He straightened out that team in a hurry.
He played at LSU in college, and he beat Nick Saban's Alabama for the championship game. You think about that like that, and in their prime.
Yeah.
It was like the New York Giants beating the Patriots and TB12 in their prime. It wasn't like they're an older, banged-up team and just didn't have it in the tank anymore. He beat them in their prime. So that guy they got a good O-line.
Yep.
I like their defense. And you give that kid 18 inches of daylight, and he'll give you 40 yards. He's fantastic to watch play. So, yeah, that is going to be a dogfight. And the winner of that game can dark horse it right to the championship final. Hands down. Hands down.
So one of the big games last weekend was the last game of the season, and it was Detroit against Minnesota.
Yes.
And Detroit ended up winning, takes the bye.
Yeah.
And it was, whoever won was first and got the bye, and whoever lost was fifth and has to go to LA and play the Rams.
Yeah.
Who we've talked about the Rams, who had a rough start to the season and have just been a powerhouse since they got all their players back healthy.
Yeah.
Right. And the Rams are really the one that could come out of that 4 spot and cause a lot of damage in the playoffs because nobody's seen them this healthy.
Yeah.
And they are a good team when healthy. They proved it by winning the Super Bowl a few years back.
Yeah.
So by the Vikings, you got Sam Darnold and the Vikings, Justin Jefferson, Jaden Addison. You got a very good, solid team there. I saw a meme because Detroit beat Minnesota pretty handily last weekend.
Yes.
And it was, and the meme was, it was a video of Darnold throwing the ball in for an interception. It said Detroit's defense hit Sam Darnold so hard they set him back to factory default, right? And he throws this bad ball interception, right? Darnold has been playing uncharacteristically good all year long.
Yeah.
And he really did look flustered in the last half of that game. But I don't see that being a trend or something going forward. I think this Minnesota-LA game on Monday night, now they've moved it out of LA, like we talked about with the Fires, to Arizona. And I think that's going to be a very good game.
It is. My only knock, Matt Stafford in LA, Matt Stafford's not a young kid anymore.
No.
So he's getting older. I'm sure he's got, those little niggling injuries where if something goes sideways, he can go out. He's not a young guy.
Yeah.
And Minnesota, anybody can win in the regular season. They've never been a good playoff team.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give the edge to LA in that game. I want to see Mini win, but yeah. Anyway, so we should wrap up. And Detroit is playing like a team of destiny. So
12 defenders on the IR, and they still shutting teams down.
Dan Campbell is the coach of the year, man. That guy is a just brilliant motivator. I just love him.
All right, let's see where we're at next weekend when we're back here to go over the NFL playoffs.
We're
on
Off Topic. Thanks for tuning in.